Now I want to ask Chief Acree to come, and I'll ask him to share something in a natural sense that I believe is going to help you spiritually. Would you welcome Chief Roy Acree as he comes this morning? Thanks, Chief. When we've been together at, I think, ceremonies when guys go from being on probation to becoming full-fledged firefighter. Promotion ceremony. Lieutenant Durden the other day, moving from lieutenant to battalion chief. I've heard you share what I'm asking you to share this morning, and I thank you for being here today. As we were at lunch or talking on the phone, whichever it was, I sensed this could be helpful. So would you tell us about this story that you've shared?
Thank you, Chief. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for having me here. I'm not quite sure that I can follow Pastor Shell most recently, so I'll try to take the opposite. I'll just give you some facts. What he's referencing is something that we reference in internal, pomp and circumstance, promotional ceremony type things. We talk about specific pieces of protective equipment. Obviously, when our personnel do the job that they're asked to do, sometimes they're not entering safe environments.
Right.
They're entering dangerous environments. That's why they have to have protective clothing. And the single most important piece of protective clothing, not that all of it is important, but the most important piece is the helmet that they wear.
Right. So you just said the single most important piece of equipment that the firefighter has. All of them are important, but is the helmet. Thank you.
Because it protects the brain, right? Yeah. It protects the consciousness of the ability to make decisions. When our fire personnel enter into structures, when a house or a business catches on fire, if we need to make sure that nobody's in there, we don't just wait outside for people to come and say, I'm okay.
Yeah, come on.
Right. Yeah. We ask our people to go in, so they have to be protected. And more times than not, when they're inside of a structure that's on fire, things fall down. Right. Sometimes those things are heavy. That's why they have to have a really good helmet. This is my helmet that I've had for years. It's made out of very, very durable materials. As a matter of fact, you can roll over it with vehicles. Now, I haven't let anybody roll over mine with a vehicle because it's mine.
But you've heard it.
But I have seen it happen. The point is, it's very durable. Yeah. It's not flimsy.
Right.
Even the shape of the helmet has specific purpose. It's domed on the top so that anything that's falling down can be deflected to the left or the right or the rear. Even the bill on the back extends out to protect the wearer from hot liquids that might fall on top of them, tar, hot liquids, and it keeps it outside of the collar, and it keeps whatever that hot liquid is from going down inside the collar. So the single most important piece that they have.
Wow. Chief, I've heard you say that this helmet has been in essence this same design for quite some time. I mean, there have been some evolutions to it over the course of time, I'm sure, but the overall design, has that been pretty consistent for many, many years?
It has, for hundreds and hundreds of years, actually.
Wow. So it's durable, it's designed to deflect things that fall on top, and also to protect things from running down in your collar as you're trying to put a fire out or rescue somebody. So it's got so many practical purposes to it that we don't understand until you share that with us.
Absolutely.
What about this part right here? What is the
Well, they're not supposed to look like that. That's what happens when they melt. But these are shields.
Okay.
These are eye shields.
All right.
Our personnel are required to wear this protective clothing, even sometimes when they're not in a dangerous environment like a fire.
Right.
If there's a vehicle entrapment from a wreck, and there could be shards of glass, if they're using the tools to get the person out, then you could flip those down, and they're eye shields.
So it comes down, covers up your eyes.
Right.
Okay. But all of that's part of the helmet design.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Chief. Could we thank him one more time for that? Thank you, buddy. And go back to number 5 as I prepare to close. Come on back, Pastor Christian. This morning, we have for you your own Life Church helmet that we want to give to you. This one you will not want to wear into a burning building. This one's not going to help you much at all. But I do want to ask you in a few moments to, if you would, to make your way down and pick up your copy of your own helmet that we prepared for you. We'd love for you to take this and put this somewhere as a reminder of what you've just heard Chief Acree talk about, as well as what I'm going to share with you now. The single most important piece of equipment for the firefighter, I heard you say it and I quoted you, is their helmet. I want to tell you something, church. The single most important piece of the armor of God is salvation. Your personal relationship with Jesus Christ is what sets everything else into motion. You can be a good person. You can be a moral person. You can be an upstanding citizen. You can be a church member. But if you are not a follower of Jesus Christ, then you're not yet wearing the helmet of salvation. You may be trying to fight these battles on your own or through all kinds of other mannerisms, but I want to tell you, your personal relationship with Jesus Christ, your salvation experience is the most important thing. And I want you to recognize, as Chief just said, in a natural sense, your spiritual helmet is extremely durable. I want you to hear me. I want to emphasize that. Paul says here, put on salvation as your helmet. It protects your mind from the lies of the enemy. When the devil tells you you can't, when the devil tells you God don't love you no more, when the devil tells you you failed one time too many, it is that helmet of salvation that will be durable enough for you to be able to recognize, wait a minute, that's not true what I just heard. And that lie that's coming my way is not going to get into my mind. I may hear it, but I don't have to believe it. And I want you to know, church, your salvation is durable. It's something that will last forever and ever and ever and ever. It's not temporary. Yes, you may struggle. Yes, you may sin. But it's not in those moments that God says, okay, I'm just going to withdraw your salvation because you're not yet perfect. If God withdrew salvation for imperfect people, nobody could be saved. Now, don't misunderstand me. I believe the Scripture is true that you can walk away from that relationship with Christ. You can turn your back on His grace. You can fall from the faith, as Scripture says. So it's not that it's so secure that you don't need to pay attention to it, but here's usually what happens. When a child of God, a man or woman of God gets into this routine and you're struggling and you're hurting and you're stumbling and you're falling and you're sinning, then the enemy's number one lie is that you're no longer even a Christian. God doesn't love you. And I want you to know today, your helmet is durable. Can I borrow that, Chief? It's something that's made to last. It's not something flimsy. It's not something that's cheap. There's money that's been put in this. There's a price that's been paid for your salvation. Jesus laid down His life, and He didn't do that temporarily. He did it for all of eternity. And when stuff's falling on you from the world, when all the attacks of the enemy are coming down on your head, it's just going to run right off. It don't have to stick. It don't have to destroy your mind. And when you're wearing this the right way, man, it's just rolling off like water on a duck's back. Some of y'all aren't country enough to appreciate that last statement. But it's not going to run down your collar. It's not going to burn you on the backside, because listen to me, every piece of the armor that God gives you protects the front. It doesn't protect the back, but the helmet does. The helmet does. The helmet does. Salvation does. God's got your back. God's got your back. God's got your back.